Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to talk a little bit about how to most efficiently use your Kais, as well as just saving on Kais, and yeah, just in general what I do when it comes to raising unit super attack levels. Now obviously, as you should all know, you get three different types of Kais. You get Grand Elder Kais, which are type based. You get Elder Kais, which are any super attack level. And you get Dozing Kais, which are a 30% chance. You also get special event Kais, like the Christmas units and all that, who functionally act as Elder Kais. So you get all these various types of Kais, but now how best to use them. I will also be touching on how to save on using Kais. However, it's important to understand I've done a video on this already, so I'll leave a link to it in the top right hand corner if you need a bit more detail than what you get in this video. So in terms of Kais, and in terms of super attacks, and in terms of everything, obviously we just need to very briefly touch on the very basics of super attacks, because it's important to understand the basics of super attacks and leveling super attacks before you can really get into it. I've also discussed the importance of leveling super attacks, but that's also in another video, but I'll link both in the top right hand corner. So firstly, let's just talk about the concept of leveling super attacks. Units have super attack levels. You should see in the corner here, this little 15 out of 15 for Omega Shenron indicates his super attack level. And the higher the level, the higher the multiplier, meaning more damage the attacks will do. For example, base units have a 10 max level. Easy aid units have a 15 max level, which goes up by 5 obviously when they easy A. LR units that are not easy aid have a max level of 20, so 20 out of 20, and LR units that are easy aid have 25 out of 20. Super strike units also have a max SA level of 20. So if you look at any super strike unit that's been easy aid, their max level is 20, in their base it's 15. So they're a little bit different to other units. What this all amounts to is basically these units, as you level their super attacks, will do more damage. So obviously Kais in that sense are very valuable, because the unit with max 20 out of 20 SA does tremendously more damage than a unit that's 1 out of 20, and any new player will be able to tell you that. But what's important to understand when leveling unit super attacks is that you can either use units with the same name, or you can use units that are the same. So instead of using Kais, you can use other copies of Piccolo or Gohan or any unit, etc. Now obviously the problem with this, ultimately at the end of the day, is that requires you to pull a lot of dupes, right? Well, no. For example here, I have this Goku Youth, this physical Goku Youth unit, right? This Goku Youth has the name Goku Youth, and this Goku Youth has the name Goku Youth. They are different cards, they're different typings, they're from different events. However, I can use this Goku Youth to upgrade the SA of the other Goku Youth. Now the chance of him raising his super attack level is going to be based predominantly on rarity. The higher I push the AGL Goku up the rarity scale, the more chance he's going to give to raise the SA to the physical one. Now the only way to show you this is to show you an actual example. So let's just go and raise, or try to raise, physical Goku's SA. You can see the AGL one gives us a measly 5% chance, which is not a lot. Now if I were to train him and take him from an SR to an SSR, then all of a sudden that chance is going to increase, because his rarity has increased. It's very important to understand this. So there you go, you can see we've now awakened him. Now if I go to raise the physical Goku super attack level, it's a 50% chance. So immediately substantially more. Dokkan Awakening unit will not change the chance of that unit unless it is Dokkan Awakening them to their UR state. So to give you a great example, this is now an SSR Goku. We're going to train him, max him out, and we're going to push him to the next level. You also notice that units that have the same name and are the same card kind of eliminate the rarity function. For example, the lower SR version of Goku is going to give him a 100% chance of raising his SA, because they're fundamentally the same card. Now, this won't apply if the Dokkan Awakening changes the name of the unit, but it's important to know. Again, if you need more detail, I do actually have a 10-minute video dedicated to this. But you can see now that we have Dokkan Awakened Goku, and obviously there hasn't been a change in the amount he raises. However, if we raise him to his UR state, all of a sudden he will now be a 100% chance at raising this physical Goku's level. So pretty important, pretty important to understand this concept. It can save you a lot of time, but also it's more strategic use of resources. To understand when to awaken and when not to awaken depends a lot on the chances and the drop rates of the unit. If I can pick up 400 copies of a unit in one run and they all have a 5% chance, I'll just do that traditionally. If I'm only getting 2 or 3 copies and when I awaken them they have a 50% chance, I'll generally do that. It's about efficient time management, and that's something you're only really going to be able to feel out. So now that you know how to save Kais by using same name units, you're going to say, but how do I know when I can do this? Well, the game has an in-game guide called Giru's Guide, and if you look under the super attack section, it literally gives you a list of every single unit that you can currently raise super attack using event units. So if I click any of the units here, it'll give me a list of events that I can choose from. It will also denote which of those are from the portal of memories. So pretty good stuff. Now this does not take into account when a unit Dokkan awakens, and it also is based on the rarity of the card you currently have. So for example, if I have a unit that if I were to reverse Dokkan awaken would become available, then it won't factor that in. Now let's talk about using Kais. So using Kais is pretty straightforward, at least for me. Traditionally, if a unit does not have a super attack raising option in terms of name, I will always use Dozing Kais first. They're a lotto, so anything you get from them is basically a gamble, and it's better to use them over using type Kais or elder Kais. Unless you're in a specific situation where you have 80 type Kais of one type, then you can potentially use those. In terms of how to use the other Kais, well, it should be pretty straightforward. You either want to use the type Kais first, because obviously type Kais are more limited in nature, or you can then use your elder Kais. Very, very rarely will I use elder Kais before using type Kais on a unit. Elder Kais are more universal. They can be used across a variety of units, typings, any rarity, etc. Although Grand Elder Kais are functionally the same, they are more limited. There's very few times when I'll opt to not use a type Kai over an elder Kai, because especially when you come to joint celebrations and things like that, you don't actually know what units are coming next. So to use elder Kais, or type Kais I should say, or elder Kais over type Kais is a bit irresponsible, because if a joint celebration comes and it drops a strength in an AGL unit, then I'm going to want to use elder Kais rather than using type Kais or banking on having those type Kais in the stock. It's also a lot easier to get type Kais. You can get them as SBR, ESBR, EZA, Extreme Z Battle rewards, whereas elder Kais are much less frequently given out. The last couple tips I'll give you is please always check if there's a naming convention option for your unit. So for example, Goku and Piccolo, check their awakenings, especially if they're an LR. If at any given point they were just a Goku, you could probably save yourself 10 SA on this unit. Same example kind of goes for the God Goku. He's a great one to look at. His base form is just Goku. You could honestly have saved yourself 10 Kais using the same name method for this Goku rather than using Kais. And lastly, LRs are probably the hardest units, so always consider using Kais on LRs because they only gain their 10 SA level at LR, and using same name units for LRs always results in a very low percentage because LRs are their own rarity bracket. And finally, Extreme Z Awakening does not affect the actual rarity of a unit, so when you EZA a unit you can still use the same name method. That's it from me, bye.